जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा गोपी जना वल्लभा राधा गोपी जना वल्लभा जय निताय पतिता पावन गौरहरि जय निताय पतिता पावन गौरहरि प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस सभे चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस शिष्य भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। शिला रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ, श्री जीवा गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ षड गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा मैया यमुना मैया की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताई गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि। All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadhujatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nutamsham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye वंशाकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपा स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। महाभूतानि पंचैव भूरपोऽग्निर्मरुं मरुन्नभा तन्मात्राणि चतावन्ति गन्धादीनि मतानि मे। महाभूतानि पंचैव भूरपोऽग्निर्मरुन्नभा तन्मात्राणि चतावन्ति गन्धादीनि मतानि मे। महाभूतानि पंचैव भूरापोऽग्निर्मरुन्नभा तन्मात्राणि चतावन्ति गन्धादीनि मतानि मे। Mahabhutani, the gross elements, Pancha 5, Eva exactly, Bhu, earth, Apaha, water, Agni, fire, Marut, air, Nabaha, ether, Tat Matrani, the subtle elements, Cha also, Tavanti, so many, Gandha, Adini, smell and so on, taste, color, touch and sound, Matani, considered me by me. Translation: There are 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. There are also 5 subtle elements: smell, taste, color, touch, and sound. Okay. So we read the next one now. Indriyani dasha shrotram tvagdrigrasana nashikaha vakarau charanau medram payo dashama uchyate. Indriyani dasha shrotram tvagdrigrasana nashikaha vakarau charanau medram payo dashama uchyate. We'll go to translation. The senses for acquiring knowledge and the organs for action. Number 10, namely the auditory sense, the sense of taste, the tactile sense, which is the sense of touch, then the sense of sight, the sense of smell, and the active organs for speaking, working, traveling, generating, and evacuating. So, the 24 elements are being described. First, there were the Panchbhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then uh, five sense organs, 5 object of the senses, and then the 5 working senses. So these are 20. And then 4 more are described in the next. Total 24 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then 5 senses: ears, nose, uh, eyes, sense of touch, and tongue to taste. Then these are the ways we acquire knowledge. Then there are 5 working senses: how we interact with the world, hands, legs, anus, genitals, and the mouth, because we speak. So in that way we interact. And then the 5 object of the senses: sense of touch, the form for eyes to see, the smell for nose to smell, then the sound, which is for ears to hear, and for the taste. So these are total 20 elements, and the next one describes about 4 more. So we will read this also, as there is no purport. Mano buddhir ahankaras chittam iti antaratmakam chaturdha lakshate bhedo vitya lakshana rupaya. Mano buddhir ahankaras chittam iti antaratmakam chaturdha lakshate vedo vitya lakshana rupaya. Translation. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The internal subtle senses are experienced as having 4 aspects in the shape of mind, intelligence, ego, and contaminated senses. Distinctions between them can be made only by different functions, since they represent different characteristics. Purport. The 4 internal senses or subtle senses described herein are defined by different characteristics. When pure consciousness is polluted by material contamination, and when identification with the body becomes prominent, one is said to be situated under false ego. Consciousness is the function of the soul, and therefore behind consciousness there is soul. Consciousness polluted by material contamination is called ahankara. Okay, once again the translation. The internal subtle senses are experienced as having 4 aspects in the shape of mind, intelligence, ego, and contaminated consciousness. Distinctions between them can be made only by different functions, since they represent different characteristics. So these 3 verses combine the 24 elements, 5 senses, the 5 object of the senses, the 5 working senses. 5 senses is knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, 5 object of the senses, the 5 Panchabhutas, mind, intelligence, false ego, and contaminated consciousness. So, contaminated consciousness is the symptom of soul, but the consciousness can be pure, the consciousness can be contaminated. Pure consciousness is Krishna consciousness when the soul or when we, the living entities, are strongly established in Sambandha Gyan, in relationship with Krishna, and identify as an eternal servant or as an associate of Lord Krishna, then that is a pure consciousness. Generally, it is very difficult to attain that consciousness. Then material consciousness is when one identifies oneself with the body, and that's why it is, you know, it goes along the false ego, but it's it's the 24th element, which is material consciousness. For some of us, or for many of us, current consciousness is more or less material consciousness. 9th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada explains devotional service begins after liberation. In a way, one starts exhibiting the pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness. Before liberation, it is material consciousness. In our case, our current consciousness is dependent upon our absorption in our own Krishna consciousness. There is one particular pastime of how our consciousness can degrade or can become contaminated because either we displease Guru, displease Vaishnavas, or displease devotees, then our consciousness degrades, falls down basically. There is a very good example like how by blessings we can elevate our consciousness and how by curses our consciousness will degrade. There is this beautiful example of in Chaitanya Charitamrita of Ramchandra Puri and Ishwar Puri. They both were disciples of Madhavendra Puri. But Madhavendra Puri was in the last phases of his life. He became an invalid, means cannot perform the regular activities of the body. He was in the mood of separation, which is naturally for Madhavendra Puri is highly, highly advanced devotee. Madhavendra Puri. We saw how Gopal reciprocated with him, and he would travel, he would not eat for days unless Krishna provides. Krishna himself would come in the form of a Gopal and give him, either he will steal the sweet rice or he will give him milk to drink, completely dependent on the mercy of Krishna. A sannyasi, and how he established Gopal Mandir, how he would travel, his whole life was a sacrifice, very advanced. Um, um, I mean, very advanced, small word. Like he is mentioned as the seed for entire Krishna consciousness movement, and he is the one who worshipped Radha and Krishna together. He is the one who started that, like the seed form, and then Mahaprabhu made the seed into a plant. So Madhavendra Puri, in that highest stage of consciousness, when he was very old, his body was not supporting. And one of the disciple, whose name was Ramchandra Puri, he was not a very sincere disciple of Guru. He was serving Guru, but at the same time, he would associate with Mayavadis also simultaneously. So he was following, but then he thought there is something more. Um, which is beyond my guru's instruction, that can help me grow. So he was, that's why he was not very dedicated disciple of his guru. But Ishwar Puri was his faith in guru. Like, for him, everything was guru and guru service. He was Ishwar Puri was very humble by nature, very service oriented, full faith. So during the um, last time of Madhavendra Puri, Ramchandra, he was Madhavendra Puri in his bhava, in his ecstatic love, he was mentioning various Krishna. Um, like he would repeatedly repeat that verse that was spoken by Srimati Radharani when Krishna left Vrindavan to Dwarka. She would cry out in a very desperate situation that now the Lord of Mathura has left me. What shall I do? In like a verse of separation, and similar verse, same verse, Madhavendra Puri would repeat again and again. It is said that Madhavendra Puri completely understood the mood of Srimati Radharani, and that's why it is said this last verse of Sikshashtakam, um, Asti Sheva Padaratam Pinashtumam, only Madhavendra Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Srimati Radharani. These are the only three personalities who actually understands the mood of separation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach us worship of Krishna in the mood of separation, and Madhavendra Puri was exhibiting that mood, which is the highest form of worship at the last stages of his earthly pastimes. And Ramchandra Puri, because the activities of pure devotee is very difficult to understand Ramchandra Puri because of his association outside, he gave advice to his Guru Maharaj that if you're not able to remember Krishna, then why don't you remember Brahman, the impersonal aspect of Krishna? Try that. So because he gave instruction, and Madhavendra Puri was feeling so much separation that he was feeling so sad that he was not able to remember Krishna. This is like ecstatic symptom of love of God. And hearing this advice, Madhavendra Puri was very displeased. So he actually used like he told him to get out from here. I'm trying so hard, and you are asking me to meditate on Brahman, get lost from here. So in that way, Guru was displeased from Madhavendra Puri, and that's how he fell down from his spiritual position. He was still chanting. Um, he was still trying to become Krishna conscious, but his mind became contaminated to such an extent that he started finding fault in everyone. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Madhavendra Puri character is like this. So this comes in Antya Leela, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was with his associates. And at that point of time, Ramchandra Puri, he came to Puri. And first Ramchandra Puri went to the house of Jagadananda Pandit. Jagadananda Pandit is like, he also has a very, very unique relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very unique, because Jagadananda Pandit is Satyabhama in Krishna Lila. So he was very close to Lord Chaitanya, and he was very demanding also, because that's the mood of Satyabhama. Like we see Rukmini Devi, Krishna gave up Parijat flower to Rukmini Devi, and Satyabhama told Krishna that, I want the whole tree. So Krishna had to go to heavenly planet get the whole tree. So this was the mood of Satyabhama. So Jagadananda Pandit has a very deep love, very caring, but it is described that Jagadananda Pandit would not approve of Lord Chaitanya's renunciation. And Jagadananda Pandit was so close, he would always try to bring some comforts to Lord Chaitanya, and Mahaprabhu would become angry at Jagadananda Pandit. So there are many, very sweet pastimes. Like one time, Jagadananda Pandit went to um, Navadip, and there he was staying with Shivananda Sen. So Shivananda Sen and Jagadananda Pandit together um, used sandalwood and made the pulp and made the oil and filled the whole matka, like container, um, with sandalwood oil, and then he carried it on his love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is immaculate, like extreme love. But he would always try to care for the transcendental body of Lord Chaitanya. So very, very unique rasa. So he carried all the way out of his love just to give comfort to Lord Chaitanya, because he saw that um, so Lord Chaitanya had some externally, symptomatically. mm, so first he brought the oil, then Mahaprabhu's personal servant was Govinda. Govinda was also the disciple of Ishwar Puri. And initially, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't want to accept Govinda as his servant because he was his god brother actually. But Ishwar Puri, before he departed, he told Govinda that you become the personal servant of Lord Chaitanya. So Dvaitacharya advised Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that since this is Guru's instruction, you should accept your own god brother as your servant. So Govinda was the personal servant of Lord Chaitanya. So Jagadananda Pandit came and he told Govinda that this oil I brought for Mahaprabhu, um, massage him with oil all over his body, his limbs, his head and his hands and legs. Massage his limbs with this pure sandalwood oil. This will help to take care of the bile and air issues of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Govinda said, all right. Then Jagannath Pandit would live close by to the house of Gambira, where Mahaprabhu would stay, which was a room in the house of Kashi Mishra. So Govinda asked Lord Chaitanya that, my dear Lord, Jagadananda has given this oil to massage on you. So Mahaprabhu said, I'm a sannyasi. I cannot use the oil. He has put a lot of effort to carry all the way from Bengal to here. He personally carried and take a lot of effort to personally make this much quantity of sandalwood oil. So uh, give it to the Pandas in Jagannath Mandir, and they can use this oil to burn um, like diya every day for Lord Jagannath, because sandalwood oil is very, very fragrant. It is very difficult to see the sandalwood trees also. They are so rare. And the sandalwood trees actually are always covered by snakes. It's very difficult to approach those trees because snakes live there somehow. So to get the wood and to make the oil from there is it's a lot of endeavor. So Jagannath will be very pleased. It's very fragrant. So use it for burning the uh, lamps for Lord Jagannath. So later on, Jagadananda Pandit asked Govinda, so did you massage the Lord with the oil? Govinda said no. He said he won't accept it. So Jagannatha Pandit requested Govinda to try once more. So again, Govinda, after a few days, he told Lord Chaitanya, my Lord, Jagananda has brought some oil for you from Bengal. He and Shivananda same. They both are very dear to you. They have personally made this oil. So Mahaprabhu became angry. So Mahaprabhu said, why only oil? Get a massager also. And every day I should get hours of massage. That's why I took renounced order, right? Just to get massage every day. What will people speak about me? People will say that he is a dhari sannyasi. He has taken renounced order and only for sake of taking care of his own body. Why don't you all understand? And Mahaprabhu became angry, and Mahaprabhu told this to Govinda. So later on, Jagannath Pandit again asked Govinda, so what did Mahaprabhu say? Then he told Mahaprabhu said, why only oil get the massager also? This is why I've taken the renounced order of life. So Jagannath Pandit became angry. Jagannath Pandit went to Gambira and he went in front of the Lord's, uh, in front of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went the whole pot. And as Mahaprabhu was watching, he took the whole pot and threw into the ground, and all the oil spilled onto the stairs and went outside and entered into the mud. And then Jagannath Pandit started crying. There's like, very intimate relationship with Jagannath Pandit. Then he started crying. Then he looked at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with anger and went to his room, his house, and locked himself and stopped eating and drinking. And 3 days, and he would only weep. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very concerned about Jagannath Pandit. So 3 days, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu waited. Then third day, Mahaprabhu went to the house of Jagannath Pandit and he knocked the door. And nobody replied, but Mahaprabhu knows Jagannath Pandit is hearing. And Mahaprabhu said, Jaga, I am going to take bath in the ocean. I am very hungry. Prepare some food for me. I'll come back and honor some prasadam. And Mahaprabhu left to take bath in the ocean. Immediately, Jagannath Pandit, he wiped his tears, took bath. He stopped all physical activities. He took bath, performed his daily rituals, then entered into the kitchen and made a grand feast for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then the Lord came and he was waiting with a huge feast. Then Mahaprabhu told Jagannath Pandit, first you eat. Jagannath Pandit said, no, first you eat, then I will eat. I will eat your remnants. Then Lord said, all right. So then the Lord ate. And then the Lord asked Jagannath Pandit, now you eat. So Jagannath Pandit said, first I will feed your servants, Govinda, Kashishwar, um, and and others. And then I will eat the remnants. So the Lord told Govinda, Govinda, stay here. Make sure Jagannath Pandit, after he feeds everyone, make sure he eats. Until he eats, don't come back. And then Mahaprabhu went back to his room in Gambhira. So after everybody ate, then Lord told Jagannath Pandit that you won't refuse my order. You said you won't give up on your words. You said you will eat after I eat. Jagannath Pandit said, I can never refuse your order because I love you so much. I will do everything that you say. So Mahaprabhu smiled. In anger only, he is saying this. Then Mahaprabhu smiled. Mahaprabhu left. Later on, Govinda reached back. Mahaprabhu asked Govinda, Govinda, did Jaga eat? Govinda said, yes, my lord. He ate your remnants. After feeding all of us, he ate. So Mahaprabhu was relieved. Then after a few days, Mahaprabhu usually, like in the renounced order, he would use it on uttari or chadar. He would put it on the ground and he would not use any pillow. He would just sleep on the ground on a saffron cloth uttari onto the floor and he would sleep like that. So Jagannath Pandit, he brought a lot of cotton. He would not give up. He brought a lot of cotton. And then he asked Govinda, give me the uttari of Lord Chaitanya. He took 2 uttaris, 2 chadar of the Lord, put a lot of cotton inside, made a nice bedding, put the bedding and a pillow in Gambhira when Lord was outside. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he saw the bedding is there, pillow is there. So Mahaprabhu asked Govinda, who kept this bedding here? So Govinda said, my lord, this is Jagannath Pandit. So Mahaprabhu became angry. So Mahaprabhu took the bedding and threw onto the streets. Jagannath Pandit came back and he saw the bedding is lying on the street outside. So this is the kind of relationship, because he's Satyabhama. He's like very caring about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He would not approve of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's like he would accept him as sannyasi, but he would not like Mahaprabhu like either eating less or performing any kind of austerities. And later on, Jagannath Pandit went to Swarup Damodar Goswami. He told Swarup Damodar Goswami that we need to make a bedding. Swarup Damodar said, yeah, sleeping on just on bare floor, and it's like like cement floor, so very hard. And on that Mahaprabhu will put just his chadar and sleep on that. So Swarup Damodar Goswami was also very much concerned. So he told Jagannath Pandit, yes, we need to do something, but he would not accept a cotton bedding for sure, as much as I know. So they both went to a plantain tree, or like a banana tree, plantain tree. Then they took the some pieces of wood of the plantain tree. They made, they crushed it, made it very soft, and then um, sew it and made it like a little bit cushion, which is, there is little bit cushion, but it is not so hard like a floor. It has little cushion, and they covered that with the uttari, but it is not like a bedding. And then they put in the, then Jagannath Pandit went and put it into the room of Lord Chaitanya. It doesn't matter how Mahaprabhu will become angry, he would continue serving the Lord. He would like, he's like, somehow or other want to take care of every little need of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Mahaprabhu again asked Govinda, who put this bedding? Then they said, Govinda. Then Mahaprabhu, Jagannath Pandit. Then Mahaprabhu saw, he touched, he understood it is made of the wood and the leaf. Then in order to please, then Govinda said, Saru Damodar Goswami and Jagannath Pandit. They made it for you. Then Mahaprabhu thought, okay, this is little bit acceptable. So then Mahaprabhu accepted it. Then he started sleeping on that bedding that Jagannath Pandit created. So in this way, Jagannath Pandit has a very unique kind of relationship with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then um, after all this happened, Mahaprabhu, Jagannath Pandit would smile at Lord Chaitanya, but internally he was angry because of this oil thing, and how Mahaprabhu would reject all the comfort Jagannath Pandit would give it to him. So Jagannath Pandit went to Lord Chaitanya. He said, I want to go to Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu told Jagannath Pandit, you want to go to Vrindavan because you are angry with me. So this is not the way you should make decision. If you go there, you will simply find fault in me also, over there also. So I think wait for some time. Don't go now. Jagannath Pandit said, no, I want to go. I want you to give me permission. And Mahaprabhu said, all right. After then, Mahaprabhu told Jagannath Pandit, okay, if you want to go, you go. But you should stay with Sanatana Goswami, because you may deal with Vrajvasis in a way that may not be appropriate. Sanatana Goswami is very mature and he has learned the art of dealing and living in Vrindavan. So don't talk to anyone, just be under guidance of Sanatana Goswami. And then Jagannath Pandit said, all right. And then he went to Vrindavan. Hmm. So in that way, Jagannath Pandit has a very deep, loving, and a very unique relationship with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Ramchandra Puri, he came to Jagannath Pandit, and Ramchandra Puri was in a sannyas robes. So Jagannath Pandit offered him obeisances. He made a nice feast for Ramchandra Puri. He fed Ramchandra Puri. Then Ramchandra Puri was satisfied with the meal. Then he told Jagannath Pandit that you are an associate of Lord Chaitanya. I'm very pleased with you. So now you sit and I want to serve you. So Jagannath Pandit was very uncomfortable, like a sannyasi serving him food. So Jagannath Pandit, he ate, and then Ramchandra Puri said, little more, little more, little more. And then he would feed him like forcefully, and then Ramchandra Puri will criticize that, see, I have heard that the associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they eat too much. Now I'm seeing it with my own eyes. They are simply gluttonous. So in that way, Ramchandra Puri would, his habit was because of his fault finding tendency, and that fault finding tendency came because Guru or Vaishnavas were displeased with him, and that's how the consciousness was degraded. And it began with small, 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 and finally he met Lord Chaitanya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Ramchandra Puri is god brother of Ishwar Puri. This also shows how one should deal with the god brother of our spiritual master, independent of their situation. So Ramchandra Puri was he met Lord Chaitanya. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately bowed down like a stick. And with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there was Paramananda Puri. And they both bowed down to Ramchandra Puri. Ramchandra Puri also bowed down. Then Ramchandra Puri said, I'm very happy to meet with all of you. Then Ramchandra Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they humbly fed, Paramananda Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they humbly fed Ramchandra Puri. But Ramchandra Puri was, because of his mentality, just fault finding mentality, he was curious to see or eager to see some fault. And then he saw some ants. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says there are ants everywhere in Jagannath Puri. So he saw some ants. And Ramchandra Puri said, see, this Chaitanya, he is a false sannyasi. He eats too much and then he saves some sweets in his room and then he eats that. And that's why there are ants crawling in his room. So Mahaprabhu, how he dealt with Ramchandra Puri is he was always humble. In front of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would he would criticize Lord Chaitanya in front of him. And he would go to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya and other people, and he would criticize Lord Chaitanya to Mahaprabhu's own associates, to the other general public, to the Pandas, to whoever he would meet. Ramchandra Puri started everywhere criticizing Lord Chaitanya, that he is a sannyasi and he eats too much. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told Govinda that Govinda, from today onwards, I will cut my food into half. I will take half the quantity of rice, half the quantities of vegetables. So one Brahmana, he was not aware. He invited, wherever Mahaprabhu would go for prasada, Govinda would go along with him. So he invited Mahaprabhu and Govinda. Generally, sometimes Mahaprabhu would go alone also, like in the house of Bhattacharya. So Mahaprabhu and Govinda, because Govinda was personal servant, they both went to the house of their Brahmana. The Brahmana, there were two options to give prasad to Lord Chaitanya. Either if it's a Brahmana, he would cook and Mahaprabhu will accept. If it's not a Brahmana, then he would order the prasadam from Jagannath temple and they would feed the Lord. This is something that Raghunath Das Goswami would also do, is when his father sent money to Raghunath Das Goswami did not want to use the money. So the servants stayed in Puri with the money, and Raghunath Das Goswami, twice a month, he would take the money from the servant, buy the food, and feed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with that food. So either you can buy and feed or you can cook if you are a Brahmana. It is also said in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu would eat in the house of devotees who chant Shataka, 1 lakh names of Krishna. Mahaprabhu will eat there also. So the Brahmana arranged and he also got a lot of Mahaprasad from Jagannath temple. But Mahaprabhu took only half portion of, like Mahaprabhu quantity, how much he would eat was fixed, but he took only half portion. And Govinda, because when the master is eating half, how can Govinda eat full? So Govinda also cut his meal into half. And Govinda was also hungry after eating. So Mahaprabhu then, Govinda told this Brahmana that Mahaprabhu had decided to reduce his eating into half. The Brahmana became very angry hearing the critical mentality of Ramchandra Puri. All the devotees were cursing Ramchandra Puri, but nobody would say anything because it was causing so much inconvenience to Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during this whole phase, he was silent. Every time Ramchandra Puri would come, Mahaprabhu would bow down with all humility and would tell him, how can I serve you? And he would command Lord Chaitanya and he would do whatever he likes. But Mahaprabhu always acted and dealt the situation with humbleness. Then the Lord would come out, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Govinda and Kashishwar that you may be hungry. I understand you also took half portion. The remaining portion you both can beg and eat and take your normal quantity. And Mahaprabhu would not eat anything more than that. He would just eat the half quantity. So Govinda, Kashishwar, other devotees, they also started eating only the half quantity out of love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then the news spread. Ramchandra Puri came to know. Then Ramchandra Puri again, he met Lord Chaitanya on the street. Lord Chaitanya offered obeisances, and then Ramchandra Puri told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that what you are doing is a false enunciation. This is Falgu. You should eat what is needed. This dry renunciation is not the true principle of sannyas. So Mahaprabhu again bowed down and did not say anything. So Ramchandra Puri, because of his mentality, when Mahaprabhu was eating, he would criticize they eat too much. And when Mahaprabhu reduced it to half, then again he criticized that he is a false enunciate. So this is all because because of displeasing uh, um, devotees of displeasing Guru. The effect of that, the consciousness became contaminated. And then after some time, Ramchandra Puri, he naturally he created a lot of disturbance. Mahaprabhu dealt the whole time with humbleness. And then Ramchandra Puri left. Then all the devotees resumed their normal eating. Mahaprabhu also resumed to normal eating, and everybody was happy again. Okay. So just that's all I have today. Just shared some pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If there is anything anybody want to say, we can take some comments.
Oh, Kushan, thank you for this wonderful, wonderful pastimes. Actually, sharing this beautiful conversation or beautiful dealing of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his wonderful associates. I was just remembering, I was hearing my spiritual master's class, and he was mentioning about this thing, that Lord Chaitanya, when he was told, you take some personal servant with you in Vrindavan, how would you go alone? And then he starts actually quoting one by one person. He mentions Jagadananda, saying that, he keeps offering me valuable things, though I'm sannyasi, but he just keeps offering me sandalwood oil. And then he was talking about Mukunda. When he sees my austerity, he just goes and cry. And when I see him cry, it just makes me feel even more bad, So such a wonderful pastime. And Maharaj was specifically mentioning, apparently it looks like he is criticizing them, but he's actually glorifying them, how they take care of him so nicely. So I was just remembering that. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Jagannatha Pandit somehow has many very nice. One devotee was recently mentioning Jagannatha Pandit wrote a book, Prem Vivarta. He is glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wrote a pastime of Lord Chaitanya. Then he wrote a very intimate pastime of Lord Chaitanya. So one devotee asked Jagannatha Pandit that this is such an intimate pastime of Lord. Why are you writing in a book? Jagannatha Pandit said, "This is my book. I can write whatever I want." So this is just his like it's a particular rasa that Jagannatha Pandit has. Somehow whenever I hear his pastime with the Lord, the dealings, very nice. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
Happy with this Chaitanya Charitamrita. Actually, Chaitanya Leela specifically, just hearing those wonderful pastimes, having conversation between these devotees, it's so amazing.
Thank you, Prabhu, for encouraging. Grateful to you. Okay, I guess we can end here. There was not much discussion. We just discuss about Lord Chaitanya. Thank you very much for joining. Dandavat Pranams. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji's Mataji's. Hare Krishna.
His grace, Syamanand.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.